We have talked about what flavor is. We've talked about tastes in wine, but how can you know what it is that you're sensing? I mean, how can you recognize a flavor in wine? Today we are going to lay out some basic flavors and categories of flavors that you might be able to recognize in a wine and give you some real-world examples of wines that will exhibit those flavors. Hey there, I'm Jacqueline for Vero, where we go around the world discovering wild and scarce, hard-to-find wines that are delicious and bring them to wine lovers, businesses, and distributors across the US. Of course, one of the main things that we evaluate when we are hand-selecting our wines, and one of the big questions that we get asked by wine lovers is, what does this taste like? Wine can taste like a whole host of things, and a lot of it is subjective based on your own mouth chemistry and personal experiences. But let's lay out some basic flavors that a lot of people can recognize in wines. Now, as we've discussed in previous videos on balance, mouthfeel, and how flavor is created in our brains, the identifiable flavors we sense in a wine, like cherries or bananas, are really the intersection of two main things: aromas and taste sensations. Aromas are the chemical compounds that we actually can smell and that we associate with certain things, like the cherries or bananas. But if you mix aromas with the taste sensations, sweet, sour, bitter, salty, and umami, that our taste buds sense, and you get flavor. So what we smell plus what we taste will equal the flavor. Now a caveat, we all have different palates. As mentioned in our previous 5 taste video, people can feel certain sensations more or less. As well, our pH can affect how aromas will interact with the palate. Experience too will play a part in all of this. If you don't like bananas, so you've never eaten them, it might be harder for you to recognize the flavor. Or maybe you just adore strawberries and you're super familiar with that flavor, so you sense them everywhere. Your memories too will play a part in this, as you remember and connect sensations and aromas to the flavors that you are sensing. So sometimes this can make it difficult to tell someone what they will taste in a wine. Often when we interact with wine consumers, they will ask us what this wine tastes like. We can tell them what we think they taste like. In fact, there is a wine I'm going to mention later in this video that I will swear upon my life tastes like Sprite. But while we can often tell them exactly what we are tasting, it is often common to also identify a general category of flavors to give a broader idea of what tastes to expect. While some of these categories can be obvious, like tropical fruits or citrus fruits, some of them, like herbal or red fruits, might not be quite as obvious. So we are going to break down some of the most traditional flavor categories that you might see around the wine world. And of course, I'm going to be giving examples of wines that will fit into each category. Floral. These aromas and flavors are of, well, flowers. Think orange blossoms, roses, violets, honeysuckle, chamomile, and jasmine. Wines with great floral aromas are Ivaldi's Bracchetto di Acqui with flavors of roses and Ivaldi's Moscato d'Asti with flavors of chamomile. Herbal. These flavors can be obvious, like aromatic herbs of rosemary, basil, and dill, but they can also be more of a balsamic sensation, like a medicinal flavor or eucalyptus. Wines with these flavors are Aldo Clerico's Barolos with balsamic flavors of eucalyptus and Febo's Cerezuolo di Abruzzo with flavors of rosemary and many other aromatic herbs. Fruits or fruitiness is our largest category, and we can subdivide this into different sections to narrow down on the types of fruits, because in some wines, certain fruits will be more likely to be sensed, such as red fruits in red wines and green fruits in white wines. Citrus fruits. These flavors can come out in a myriad of ways, such as the juice, the zest, or maybe even the pith or rind of the fruit. These are fruits like grapefruit, orange, lime, and lemon. Great examples: Thaya's Moravian Muscat, the one that I was talking about tasting like Sprite. The lemon-lime flavors with a hint of residual sugar taste just like Sprite to me. But also, Sandro de Bruno's Durello, with a bitter aftertaste, has great flavors of grapefruit pith and juice as well. Green fruits. This category of fruits refers to fruits like apples, pears, gooseberries, and even the grapes themselves sometimes. And remember, when going through this category, apples can be red, green, and yellow, or maybe the pears are ripe or unripe. Our wine pick? Check out Thaya's Chardonnay. An unoaked version, there are great flavors of all types of apples in this wine. Stone fruits. These are fruits that have a pit in them, like peaches, apricots, and nectarines. We really love Febo's Parella for its peach flavors. And the bonus that it gives us here are there are some great herbal notes with aromatic herb underflavors too. Tropical fruits. Typical tropical fruit aromas and flavors can be bananas, mangoes, pineapples, passion fruits, melons, and even lychees. These typically are associated with nice, ripe flavors, and perhaps even a sweeter or fuller-bodied taste too. Wines like Febo's Roland pull out banana and papaya flavors, or a Chardonnay like Lugana wine as well can have tropical fruit flavors. Red and black fruits. Our next two categories kind of play off of each other as they are often small berries or small fruits. The notable exception here are plums, which we put with these fruits rather than stone fruits due to the fact that we can see them in both red and black versions. So first, red fruits. Think strawberries, raspberries, currants, cranberries, red cherries, and red plums. We can taste these in wines like Frignano's Sgarbato, which tastes like cranberry juice, or Evaldi's Bracchetto di Acqui, which has lots of strawberry flavors. Barbera too, like Evaldi's Piccona Barbera d'Asti and Nizza DOCG, just they have cherry flavors all day, all types of cherries. For the black fruits, we get deeper, jammy flavors sometimes. Blackberries, blueberries, black cherries, black plums are ones that come to mind. Try Thaya's San Laurent or Ojai Pacific View's Dolcetto for great flavors of rich black plums. Spices. These can be sweet baking spices like cinnamon, nutmeg, vanilla, or cloves. They can also be more savory spices like pepper, licorice, curry, or ginger. Spices can be inherent to the grape, like a peppery schioppettino, or they can be from the aging process in the barrels. In fact, Casa Corini's wines have a lot of spices, both in the sweet baking category and the savory ones too, thanks to the wine's extended aging period in the barrels. Dried fruits. Often, these flavors come from lots of aging or certain types of sweet wines. They are flavors like nuts, dried apricots, raisins, figs, prunes, and even honey. In sweet wines like Braschi's Albana, we get these notes from the sweetness and winemaking methods. But in wines like Casa Corini's Chabot del Moreto, we get dried apricot and honey from the unique way the Moscato grape is macerated on the skins as an orange wine and later aged. Yeast. As we talked about in previous videos, some wines will age for a time in contact with their native yeasts that cause the fermentation. This can impart, well, yeasty flavors like bread, toast, and pastries. Traditional method wines are well known for this characteristic, but we like to look at a different type of wine, like the Petnat Bosquera from Zanon, for a unique umami take on bread crusts. Mallow. This is a unique category, colloquial called mallow, that comes from really just one thing, and that is malolactic conversion. This is where wines that are aged in a certain way or made in a certain way will have malic acid turned into lactic acid. This lactic acid can give a buttery, creamy texture and flavors to the wine. Sometimes we can even get cheese flavors. Wines like Quercia Scarlata's Marchese Japo are great examples of these buttery, creamy flavors. Paired with the time that it spends on the lees and the malolactic conversion, the wine gives us great buttery, creamy flavors. Okie and aging flavors. We've lumped these two in because they often come together, as a lot of long aging wine does tend to spend time in oak barrels. These flavors can be leather, spices, forest floor, earth, smoke, chocolate, tobacco, and meat. Think rich and intense flavors. A wine like Casa Corini's Centin is great for this, as it ages for a long time and in oak barrels. With this wine, we get lots of leather, vanilla, cloves, forest floor, and earthiness. Minerality. We talked a little bit about minerality when we talked about saltiness in our previous taste video that I'll have linked after this. Minerality can be kind of like licking a rock. We feel it as a sapid, salty flavor that can be likened to flint, wet stones, chalk, or even salt itself. A wine like Michi Lauren's Schist Happens Sauvignon Blanc is just like this, where the name actually refers to the type of mineral-driven soil where the grapes grow, or the schist soil. Herbaceous. This is a green or grassy vegetal type flavor that we get in wine. You might taste literally grass or tomato leaves. You can think of it too as vegetables like green bell pepper and asparagus, or a mixture of scents and flavors of nature mixed together. Think of walking in a park or walking in a vineyard. Many wines have these herbaceous flavors and are minimal to no intervention type wines. This is actually a style of wine that we do specialize in, and some examples are the wines from Abruzzo winery Febo or the wines from Tuscan woman-owned winery La Magliosa. Both make terroir-driven natural wines that will invoke the feelings of walking through their land with an herbaceous flavor. Bonus: both wineries make olive oil too, and in fact, there are herbaceous flavors in their extra virgin olive oils as well. Now, all the wines I mentioned here are available in the Vero shop on verovino.com. There you can find a whole host of great wines where in the descriptions we talk about what are these flavors of the wines. We can ship them to your door, or you can contact us for wholesale pricing. While you are perusing the wine selection on verovino.com, you should also remember to subscribe to the Vero newsletter that I will have linked below. With that free subscription, you will get email updates whenever we release new articles, videos, and new wines. So thank you for joining me today. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like below and be sure to subscribe here on YouTube and to the Vero newsletter to not miss any more great wine-related content. Now, if you want to recap what those main tastes are, I will leave you with this video for that. Bye!